My name's host Eric. I want to talk with people. What makes you feel safe? Got a nice email from a regular from around the channel, somebody who's been active for a while, periodically, off and on. Very nice email. And one of the things that he said was that in the stretches of his life when he felt troubled, like he didn't necessarily have anybody he could count on. And he said that watching my videos made him feel safe. And that was about one of the nicer things somebody said to me in a long time, really. I would like my videos to make people feel safe. The thing is, I also recognize that it's like I'm definitely not going to be making Cone Man feel safe, very safe if I'm arguing with him so vociferously. But I think the point is, for people who are concerned about their own self-worth, validity, or whatever, that those are the people that I'm most likely to make feel safe with my content in general. Stuff where it's like I may find myself at odds with various parties when the topic is cognitive functions or when the topic's politics or philosophy or something. I very rarely, if ever, find myself at odds with people when the topic is uh, like self-love or good relationship habits or something like that. In those contexts, it seems like I essentially never find myself at odds with the general populace. Well, this Texas Washington game is still not over. I've been watching football kind of all day, and at this point, I feel like I've perhaps exhausted my football consuming energy a bit. But I gotta just see the last bit of this football game here to see who ends up winning it. Hopefully, it will be Washington, but Texas is gonna attempt an onside kick here shortly. So, what makes you feel safe? Well, what makes me feel safe is the question. Sometimes live streaming. I wouldn't say it makes me feel dramatically safer than I was prior to streaming or whatever, but it certainly is familiar, comfortable, soothing, a soothing engagement, soothing way for me to, you know, express myself or whatever. I
is the best beat that you ever heard for rap.
Okay, sorry about that. So Texas is going to attempt this onside kick, and I guess Washington might have to theoretically get a first down even if they recover the onside kick. Hi, Boba Fett. How are you? I have. Looks like Washington got it, yeah. I have not a ton of notions coming into this as to exactly what I want to talk about, but it does seem as though Washington should have this game won at this point. Is there anything else? There's a minute 6, second and 8. Texas has one timeout left. It's not quite over, but whatever. Close enough. Feeling safe is tricky because if something does, it innately is in some danger of failing. Well, I think the idea of something making you feel safe is that if if circumstances, realities, or whatever are pushing you towards an anxious state of being, what what do you find soothing or restorative of normalcy? It's generally easier for us to say what makes us feel unsafe, probably, because that's a more kind of emotionally dramatic occurrence. But the reason, which you may all, anybody who's here now may have missed this explanation earlier, but I got a nice email from somebody saying how when they were in difficult times or felt like they didn't have anybody, that watching my videos made them feel safe. Certainly, I actually, when I think about like what makes me feel safe, certain kinds of familiar content certainly qualifies, like watching Reese Davis and Kirk Herbstreit broadcast a football game. It's very familiar to me. I've watched lots of college football games, and those two are like classic. Your classic college football broadcasters. So it makes sense to me that somebody's media might make somebody feel safe, and I feel flattered that my media makes somebody feel safe. But as I was articulating, it really depends on what your standard of like where you seek to find your safety. So like if somebody comes around and says, I feel alienated from the world, I feel like I'm not living up to my potential and I have trouble following through on things, so I'm going to be very empathetic towards that sort of stuff, or any other kind of expression of like genuine sort of ontological distress or a state of unease or something. I like to try to push a non-TE frame, non-SE frame, because I think mostly that's what the world projects onto people, right? Or like TE and SE frames. Being understood makes me feel safe, even if it's indirect. That's a good observation. My my rear security 6357 don't make you feel safe. Well, it does provide a certain amount of literal safety in certain circumstances, but I think we mean it more emotionally, okay? I think we're talking more about what makes you feel emotionally safe than like God's. And no, boobs is not a good enough answer. So I do think that familiar media makes me feel safe. I think that like SI stuff tends to make me feel fairly safe. Getting shit done makes me feel kind of more safe too. Like dragging my feet on shit tends to make me feel unsafe. Avoidance in general doesn't help, I'm avoiding fear, but it makes me feel unsafe to be avoidant. But yeah, I mean, obviously, live streaming is also something that qualifies as making me feel safe, because I almost feel like unease if I don't live stream frequently enough. In that case, pie. Pie makes me feel safe, especially custard pie. That's a good answer. It's an excellent answer, men like gods. I'd say like cold weather generally makes me feel more safe than hot weather. Coziness and safety seem to link a lot for me. I think Rachel and I both feel safe in this relationship because we're actively practicing making our partner feel safe. I feel unsafe when my autonomy is taken away, says Kojitsu. Yeah, well, that's going to make anybody feel unsafe, I think. Someone stepping all over your agency, nobody's going to feel empowered by that, obviously. Looks like Texas is going to get the ball back. Ridiculous, because I cannot believe this game's not over yet. It's just, will you end already? This game has dragged on and on and on. All these reviews and assorted bullshit. Well, Texas does have the ball back. There's 41 seconds left. It's 2nd and 10. They're trying to drive down the field for a game-winning touchdown. Anything short of a touchdown will leave them losing the game. This may negatively impact my bandwidth for a moment or two, but it's like these college football players, they just keep wanting to try to desperately win the game at the last second, which makes it difficult for me to turn it off. It's like Washington had the ball back with like a minute left, but thanks to Texas's 2 timeouts and I guess a 3 and out, they got the ball back. Despite the fact that Washington recovered an onside kick, they didn't get a first down. And now, Texas is 3rd and 10 with 40 seconds left approximately. Ewers goes deep. Texas receiver pushes off and gets the catch. No flag. The DB is asking for the flag because the offensive player clearly pushed off, but that's fine. Well, maybe not. Not that clear cut of a push off, really. So now they're on the Washington 28-yard line. Clock ticking, 25 seconds left approximately. Ewers drops back to pass, heaves one into the end zone, and it's broken up by the Washington DB on this occasion. Whew, this would suck ass if Texas came back and won this game. Oh my God, this would suck ass. Let's please not have that happen. There's going to be a lot of pressure on the secondary right now to keep things in front of them. And if they, and Texas basically has to throw the ball at least for a first down. In the last 2 minutes of the game, that's great DB play. In the last 2 minutes of the game, the clock does briefly start on a first down, but briefly stop on the first down. But what are they doing? Timeout Washington. Okay, Jesus Christ! It's like the last minute of this game has lasted such a long time. It's almost punishing to try to watch this thing. Boba Fett, get more quick. Get more what? Get more something. Emotionally, though, not sure I understand what makes me feel unsafe. I have a rather delayed emotional response to things. Now, I'm not, well, I mean, I know certain kinds of things would make me unsafe that I don't necessarily make me feel unsafe that I don't necessarily encounter. Like Rachel could certainly make me feel unsafe. I think that's always with extra within the capacity of your partner than anybody else, you know. But she doesn't habituate bad behaviors that are likely to cause that response, you know. Did he get it? Did he catch it? Oh my God, he caught it. Oh my God. Well, it's so there's 15 seconds left. Texas, that's not a catch.
No,
That is not a catch.
yeah,
They're gonna have to review this one too. Maybe it is actually. Maybe it is. But I bet you they review it regardless. Yep, here comes the review. Oh my God. Seriously, I want to know how long the last, like, call it minute and 15 seconds take. The last minute and a half of the game. Because there are these few plays that Washington runs to get, finally they kick a field goal. And then they try an onside kick. They recover it. They go 3 and out. Texas uses their times outs. And from anyway, from about 1:30 till now, it has to have been at least half an hour or 40 minutes of bullshit. It's unbelievable. They're not going to maybe they will overturn that. I don't know. That's a tough call. Why don't they take good 10, 12 minutes to try to figure it out? I think it's probably the best thing. Large crowds make you feel unsafe. Okay. Being surrounded by ravenous bears makes me feel emotionally unsafe. Because ravenous bears say such mean things. Yeah, it play stands. Okay, so I don't know if that should have been a catch or not, but now with 15 seconds left, Texas has 1st and 10 from the Washington 12-yard line. And they're going to obviously need to throw it in the end zone. Washington takes another timeout. I don't know if that was well advised. They maybe should have preserved that last timeout, but the game continues to drag on ridiculously. What if Bears don't agree with my views? Right. Because Bears ask me to engage political ideas in a sophisticated way, they make me feel unsafe. Well, hello, Acacia. I remember you. You're one of those people who stay at my house. Well, anyway, I responded this evening to a typing session purchase that somebody had made. My goodness, if Texas wins this game, it's going to just be unbelievably horrible. Washington had this game won. And if they end up losing it here in the last 15 seconds, oh my God. Okay, well, they lost a yard, cost them 5 seconds. It's not going to do them much good. There's 10 seconds left. Second down. Neither team has any timeouts left. So hopefully this game will blessedly come to an end here pretty soon. I would be very unhappy if Texas wins, but I'd just be happy the game's over finally. Five seconds left. 3rd and 11, but basically 3rd and goal because I guess if they get a first down, in theory, they might be able to run up to the line of scrimmage fast enough. I doubt it. It'd have to be a very quick first down. It would take like 2 seconds to get the first down. So it's basically they got to check it into the end zone here. This is probably the last play of the game. But if they try to move very fast, then in theory, if they got out of bounds, there could be one more play. Here it is. Texas. Oh, he's going to get sacked. And there's 1 second left. There's 1 second left. I bet you they're going to put 1 second back on the clock. Yeah, they're going to have to put 1 second back. Texas is going to have one more play with 1 second left and down by 6 points, 4th down and goal functionally from the Washington 13-yard line. Yeah, it should be. Yeah, they were correct to put 1 second back. Okay, so here it is, last play of the game. Come on, Washington defense, don't give up a touchdown now. It would be just too heartbreaking. That's it. Game over. Washington holds on and wins the game. Great job, Washington defense. Great job. Okay, I didn't think you were going to be able to do it, but you did. I was afraid that you were going to blow that lead. All right, good job. So that's over now. Finally. Hi, EI Last. I appreciated your email. Probably it was the main thing. I mean, I wanted to. I was going to live stream after the game anyway, but seeing that email made me want to discuss the topic of things that make you feel safe. I appreciate that. It's a big compliment to say that watching my content makes you feel safe. Because while I would sing my praises in various areas, my own praises, that is not probably an area where I would sing my own praises. I think that's one of the areas where I could certainly improve. You know. Like, at the same time, I'm not entirely sure. Like, what do I do in a context like this morning stream where Cone Man just keeps saying nonsense and, you know, what am I going to do? I guess I could be nicer about it. But I read a great quote from some physicist tonight. He's famous for making the quote, "You're not right. You're not even wrong," for things that are completely nonsense, you know. That, if you ask me, is a great and powerful quote. I tried to show you how, like, the worst thing you could be is saying nothing, right? That's worse than right or wrong. Saying nothing is, but making sounds and thinking you're saying something is the worst kind of thing of all. But, you know, just because I don't like it doesn't mean I should. Well, it's not, I mean, you know, it's not like I'm battling against myself, right? There's another person there who's continuing to throw down with me for no good reason when they really shouldn't be throwing down. But, you know, I also recognize that I've encountered this phenomenon before. Maybe I should engage it differently than my reflex. So what's going on, EI Lost? Anything exciting in life? You feel like life's improving instead of the opposite of improving, degrading. I feel like life's, well, I felt as though prior to this new year, as though I were kind of, I was kind of on a degrading, not that I was feeling degraded or something, but rather that instead of me moving forward in a positive way, that somehow I was, you know, devolving, uh, regressing. But I don't really feel that way today or in general right now. Uh, I feel pretty happy that there's a new year. I've got a couple of different things in mind that I'd like to be maybe working on. I got some chores for tomorrow. I like maybe to go to the store. We're all out of drinks, which is a pretty tragic reality to have to live in when you're all out of drinks. Then you have to do what I wouldn't wish upon the most horrific prisoners and criminals in the world, namely drinking tap water or even bottled water, frankly. Water's too boring a drink for me. I'm not a big believer in water. I'd rather even have just coffee than water. My taste buds need more pizzazz than that. Now, I did get a lot of things accomplished today, which I'll mention just to make you feel guilty about the things you didn't get accomplished. I took down the Christmas decorations. I took down the Christmas tree. Rachel and I did, she helped me. And swept up some pine needles and shit like that. Took the trash out to the street. I got 3 cans up onto the street now. I didn't get my gravel pouring task done this morning or today at any point. And for that, I feel appropriately ashamed of myself. But I believe not only that the children are our future, point 0.9 inches of snow expected on Saturday. It's not very much snow. 0.9 inches. That's less than 1/10 of an inch of rain. Expected on Saturday, huh? Well, I believe that Wednesday will share with us a few dribble drabbles of rain as well, having looked at the precipitation forecast and the cloud maps myself, because I don't really trust the people at Microsoft Weather or whatever is responsible for this weather thing I look at. Call it whatever you want. But I see Wednesday as, promising a little bit of cloud cover because what I see is a storm just off the coast. It looks to be going to be whipping some of its tail up into us. But there's a big storm back behind that. That's the one they're projecting will give us a little bit of snow on this upcoming Saturday. So just keep that in mind. Just keep that in mind when you're reflecting upon Eric's weather. Maybe I am ESTP after all. That would explain why I'm so different from that ENTP CS Joseph. He's funny with his voice. Look, I'm not saying all ENTPs are funny necessarily, but I would hope not many of them are painfully unfunny. You'd think they'd, the FE third, NE first, that they either direct their attention towards somewhere other than being funny, or if they're going to try to be funny, they'd successfully be funny. We've got sufficient intuition with extroverted feeling to pull that off at least. Well, I have Melissa Talks is by far the most boring ENTP of all, probably. Although I wouldn't say that. I mean, I think you'd be doing a disservice to the truth if you were to try to claim that Club ENTP is not boring. But maybe boring in a slightly different way, you know. The SFP boring is different than ESTJ boring, but who knows what type Melissa Talks is. Sure, it does seem to be an awful lot of FI. Seems higher than fourth maybe, but that's just my mugity. What would INTP humor be like? Same as ENTP humor, basically. Uh, like Norm Macdonald, INTP probably. Uh, and if you look at his humor, it kind of takes its time getting where it's going, but is very intuitive and clever. Takes a special INTJ to have taken a shine to her quite drab persona. Well, Mugity talks. Yeah. The thing is, if I believed that Melissa Talks, C.S. Joseph, and Club ENTP were all ENTPs, I'd be feeling woeful and sad for being such a shitty type. Like, I wish I weren't such a boring type. Boba Fett, I feel no need to speculate on how she is in the sack. I just know that in the typological sack, she's frigid, which is to say, she's wrong. That's what it is to say. Your Iggity talks? Well, that's good to hear. You wouldn't want to mute Iggity. It doubled to 11 people. You know why? Because everyone sent out the word, hey, Eric's talking about fascinating things. We need to tune in right now and listen. We're going to listen, we're going to learn, we're going to love. That's good math, Kujitsu. Ruben, you're a beat late on that one. And I like Kojitsu's NI of it better than yours. Sorry to report. I hope my critique didn't make you feel unsafe. Because my goal today is to make everybody feel as safe as though the firemen and the policemen were all surrounding them. Preventing fire from burning them and preventing burglars from robbing them. I remember ENFJ one time told me something that struck me as very wise. He said, good leaders make people feel safe. And I thought when he said that, well, I guess that's why I'm not a good leader. But I think I could learn to make people feel safer than totally unsafe. You know. Everybody should feel safer emotionally in the company of me than they do in the company of insult comic Triumph the Dog or whatever it's called. You should feel safer in my company than you would if you were the butt of a Comedy Central roast. That should probably make you feel fairly unsafe as people tease you as a planned, orchestrated event. It seems like a very strange concept, you know. I uh I would not want to be the subject of a Comedy Central roast. Yeah, I think those things are terrible. I can't watch them at all. I hate like insult comics of any sort. Like, be smarter than that. Hey, my comedy style is teasing people. You know, like bullying them, kind of. But funny. Okay. No. Asswipe, no. That's what I have to say to insult comic Asswipe McGee. They tend to be very race driven, you think? Well, they could be race driven, they could be body shame driven. They could be gender driven, like, of course, like what we have in a woman's purse here. You know, of course you got a fancy bag. Women are always buying bags. Just shut the fuck up. you know, just shut the fuck up. I haven't bathed this whole year. Is that correct grammar? Yeah, but it's incorrect punctuation because you're lacking a period. Right? It's freaking horrible. Speaking of things that are horrible, I'm like a solid 8 or 9 episodes into one of the worst shows I've seen in a long time. It's a Korean show called Rugal, Rugal. And it's basically um, the bionic man, or the $100 million man, or what do they call him? Except he's split into 4 different people. So one of the guys has bionic eyes. He basically has like magic tech eyes. Yeah, it's just not funny, is why it's dumb and horrible. Um, so one of the guys has bionic eyes. One of the guys has a bionic arm. The lady, I guess, has bionic. I'm not. They never really said what her bionic thing is. The other guy has bionic organs, but also has some sort of like magical tech link to drones. Um, it's so crazily poorly written. I just can't believe it. Like, it's like the main character had these bad guys who have these like things implanted in their heads, which um, make their heads blow up when the bad guy makes their head blow up. And like the main character is like, he has them in this truck where they tried to get him, but he surprised them by holding his breath when they put the sleeping gas on him. Anyway, he has them in this truck now. Has closed the back of the truck and indicated the truck to go ahead, and it's driving, and he's beating them up and stuff. And he says to him finally, you better tell me if you don't want that head of yours to explode. You better tell me right now, like what I want to know. So then they start talking, and of course, because they start talking, the bad guy who's monitoring them makes their heads explode. So, first of all, why would the guys think that the main hero guy has any control over whether their heads explode? Second, why would the main hero guy think they're going to believe him when he says you better start talking if you don't want your heads to explode? Third, didn't he prove himself wrong as soon as they started talking and their heads exploded? Shit like that. Another thing, he had a plan to infiltrate the organization, right? He says he needs to infiltrate directly at the top of the organization. So he climbs in the lady Cranton boss's car. She hops on his lap and sticks a knife to his throat. Then he disarms her and throws her back onto her chair. And she's like, "What's your name?" And he tells her, and she's like, "I don't know you very well, but I need a bodyguard." Who the fuck wrote this horrible thing? NASCAR redneck jokes apparently a thing. And if you want to watch NASCAR with a redneck, you just might be a redneck. Jeff Foxworthy, I'm going to tell you what I tell all failed comedians. Shut the fuck up. You're not funny. You're just polluting all of our metaphysical space with your horrible, horrible non-jokes. Most comedians are terrible, but most of them aren't famous enough for me to give them the stern STFU that they deserve. So, yeah, obviously race stuff's not funny and stupid, super dumb. Except for jokes about Chinaman. I'm just kidding. Of course. Only good jokes about Chinamen are funny. But, you know, some Korean shows are fantastic. Some are very good, but not quite fantastic. Like Vagabond was quite entertaining, very good, but not ultimately fantastic. But it does have my new favorite thing to say. Dead. You hear me? We're both fucking dead. Is George Carlin an EHP? Probably, yeah. I would guess George Carlin's an EHP. He's not my favorite comedian, but he's not terrible. He had trouble, I think, doing a lot in his post career. But one thing that I really respect about George Carlin, and it sounds very EHP to me, is his explanation on dealing with fans. Whenever I meet a fan who comes up to me, I'm always super nice and talk to him for like 10 minutes or whatever. Give him sign the autographs and stuff. Because I figure I spend 5-10 minutes with this guy. I've got a fan for life. Who else on your STFU comedian list? Well, John Mulaney's newest stuff that I've seen is not as good as some of his older stuff. But you know, obviously there are horrible comedians such as George Lopez. Horrible. Fluffy. Horrible. Paula Poundstone. horrible. Is that consciously going through my mind during the interaction? Who? Me? You mean George Carlin? I don't think that's what I was actually reflecting on the same question, Alec T. I doubt George Carlin was actually purposing his interactions like that. It was probably a good enough explanation for him as to why he appreciated random people coming up to him and shit, you know? Well, it's because he's probably an ENTP and that's third slot FE. He probably always liked it when people came up to him. Well, I will agree with you that Mulaney doesn't rewatch as well as smarter comedy. He's really an excellent deliverer of stuff, you know? What about my old timey voice? Do you mean like an old timer like that, or do you mean old timey like? Why I say we'll get in the carriage and we'll drive away. I tell you, kind of like Jimmy Stewart, that kind of old timey, or what? I don't like Bill Hicks at all. He's on my shut the fuck up list for sure. That guy is horrible. And I've had people compare me to him before. Like, what would possibly make anybody compare me to that horrible guy? He just like talks shit about women and stuff. I don't know who Normand is. I like Rachel Feinstein's like Judy Garland voice or something. I don't know who exactly she's imitating, but it's like, well, golly, mister. If that's true, we better hurry and tell the detectives. Something like that. It's hilarious. Norm MacDonald is Normand. Old timey voice. Oh, I don't doubt that all of it was prepped pretty much, you know? I'm sure he knew exactly what jokes he was going to do going in. He probably practiced things, tried them out, tried a different delivery things in front of audiences as he refined his craft and stuff. But you know, stand-up comedians peak and then wither because it's hard to come up with a lot of good stand-up material, you know? It's kind of tricky for comedians nowadays because a couple hours worth of stand-up for most comedians is it's like a career's worth of stand-up material. I frequently find myself wanting to say STFU to the gay Asian guy on Saturday Night Live. I don't think he's funny at all. I think he's distressingly unfunny, almost always. Mark Norman's voice doesn't bother you? Well, I just don't know who Mark Norman is, but I want to know what kind of old-timey voice is it? Is it an old-timey voice like the oil baron in the skit from Saturday Night Live? Or an old-timey voice like an old man? Inquiring Eric's want to know. Are you talking about Mark Hamill? Olympic ice skating legend? Or are you talking more about Peggy Fleming? American ice skating legend. If you had to have dinner with either Peggy Fleming or Mark Hamill, who would you have dinner with? If you were forced at gunpoint to have dinner with one of them. And you're required in this conversation to listen to them tell stories from their ice skating careers. Would you rather, I'm going to ask the same question now, with Mary Lou Retton or Simone Biles? I think that's her name, the new gymnast lady. Who would you have dinner with if you were forced to have dinner with one of them? I know, none of us would choose to have dinner with any of those people, but if we had to. Bill Hader is hilarious, yeah. Mark Fleming Hamill. Peggy Mark Fleming Hamill. And celebrity talks are my kryptonite. Okay, well, let me ask you some celebrities you know better, okay, than those people. Who, if you were forced at gunpoint to have dinner with one of these people, I like Fred Armisen as well. He's funny, and so is Kristen Wiig. You named three great people there, could you see? When was the last time you used Peter as a verb? You know, like when I said burned it, Peter's petered out when her Peter was out in the Broadway production of Peter Pan. So, if you had to have dinner with one of them, who would you rather have dinner with? J-Lo or Meghan Markle? You have to. You're being compelled at gunpoint to have dinner with either J-Lo or Meghan Markle. Who do you choose? Who do you choose? I'm going to go with J-Lo, I think. At least I can ask her about her husband. I'm interested in him more than I am in Prince Harry. Good job, Alec D says. Okay, well, what about you have to choose between either Kim Kardashian or Gwen Stefani? So you have to have dinner. It's it's like a 5-course meal too. With Gwen Stefani or Kim Kardashian. Who would you rather have to endure a dinner with? I'm gonna say Gwen Stefani. She seems to be in a happy, albeit strange, relationship with that country guy. What's his name? Blake Shelton. Everybody's going Gwen Stefani here, huh? Okay. All right, fine. All right. How about this? If you had to have dinner with one of them, would you rather have dinner with Peter Dinklage or let's see, Peter Dinklage or self-important MCU actress Brie Larson? Is that her name? Brie Larson, I believe her name is, or no, Brie something like that. I don't remember her name. The lady who plays Captain Marvel. That horrible lady. Would you rather have to eat? Which one of those two would you have to eat with? Peter Dinklage or horrible Captain Marvel lady? Dinklage? All right. If you had to have dinner with one of these two people, who would you choose? You are either two dead people, Prince or Michael Jackson. Prince or Michael Jackson? Do you want to have dinner with a Jehovah's Witness or whatever Michael Jackson was? No, Prince won't play Darling Nikki for you. That's where the Nikki, that's how you know where it came from. You guys say Michael Jackson. I'd rather have dinner with Prince, I think. I'd say things like, hey, I saw you at the forum that one time. Everyone's going Michael Jackson. All right. Michael Jackson was an arsonist. Yeah. So, how much of this fentanyl of yours should I take without dying? Okay. How about, I'm glad we all understand that Peter Dinklage is kind of snobby. A bit of a snobby snob, I think. I get it. It's probably somewhat a defense mechanism, but how about you get to choose between hanging out with Bill Cosby or with that disgraced filmmaker? Which of the many ones? His name's Dink. Who's that disgraced filmmaker? Who got in hot water? Hot water. Meow, 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 meow. Brett Ratner directed the Rush Hour film series, The Family Man, Red Dragon. Brett Ratner. He just looks like a scumbag in this picture. Alleged organized crime ties. Ratner was one of the people featured in the text leak between himself, Charlie Kirk, Kevin Tishjara, and James Packer. Hmm. Hmm. Anyway, horrible stuff I don't want to read about. Anyway, I forget the name of the guy I'm talking about. Not Weinstein. I'm talking about a specific movie director. Only before we start having them. Would you cheers and play sword fight with your pudding pops? I don't have any pudding pops. Oh, I see you're referring to Fly Guy's claim that. Oh, I see you're going to meet Cosby in the middle of a pudding pop field goal? Fly Guy. Okay, fine. No, no, none of those people. Somebody else I'm thinking of. All those people are fine. I don't think Quentin Tarantino makes that list, really. Uh, Bill Cosby, or would you rather have dinner with Lisa Kudrow? Which of the Olsen twins would you rather have dinner with? Tim Allen or Woody Allen? Good question. Woody Allen, an entitled fuck. Not cool. I mean, I think he's probably an NTP of some sort, but I don't know for sure. Could potentially, I guess, be NFP, but it seems more NTP. I don't know. Maybe not. A lot of relationship stuff. Maybe he is an NFP. I'd like to shuttle him away from my type as far as possible. You're gonna go to dinner with both Mary and Kate? Well, somebody who died from an overdose got his drugs from them. If you had to have dinner with either Kirk Cameron or Michael J. Fox, who would you pick? Kirk Cameron or Michael J. Fox? Good question. Mary, Kate, and Ashley. How about this? You have to have dinner with either Bjork or um, Lady Gaga. Which weirdo do you want to have dinner with? Bjork or Lady Gaga? He'd spill spaghetti. It would be very sad. Mary, Mate, and Ashley is a good name for a Olsen twins themed porn movie. Bjork over Lady Gaga. Not a lot of Gaga fans here, huh? All right. How about Lady Gaga or Katy Perry? Lady Gaga or Katy Perry? Hmm? I'd rather have dinner with Katy Perry, I think. Katy Perry, I respect her more as a songwriter. Gaga is a little bit like the successor to Madonna. I mean, she's got better songs than Madonna does. Don't get me wrong. Lady Gaga is more talented than Madonna, but Katy Perry is a better songwriter ultimately. Um, how about if you're going to have dinner with either Jessica Simpson or her one-time husband, that guy. Remember him? That guy who was once maybe in NSYNC. No, not Kevin Federline. Why do these questions feel similar to getting an eye exam? I'm not picking desirable celebrities really for you to want to hang out with. Um, how about this? You get to hang out with either Rudy Giuliani or disgraced former Chicago mayor. What was that guy's name? Or Rudy Giuliani or Rudy, that guy who played for Notre Dame, who was, got the movie made out of him. I would probably rather hang out with Rudy Giuliani if I had to. Maybe dinner would be in New York that way. Would you rather hang out with Judge Judy or let's see, who is another famous bitchy ESTJ? Oh, okay. Here's a good one. Judge Judy or Dr. Phil? Now that's a good one. That's a tough choice. If you got to choose dinner between Judge Judy and Dr. Phil, I'm gonna go Judge Judy. I think Dr. Phil, I don't think I'd be able to get through dinner without punching him in the face. Alex leaving dinner. Occasion prefers Dr. Phil. Okay, so like Whoopi Goldberg or Ann Coulter? Who do you want to have dinner with? Yeah, well, Judge Booty can be part of the Mary Mate and Ashley porn. Coulter. You rather hang out with Ann Coulter than Whoopi Goldberg? I don't know, man. It's a tough one. I don't want to spend any time with either of those two horrible people. But all right. Would I rather hang out with Teal Swan or C.S. Joseph? Good question, Winston's mom. Teal Swan or C.S. Joseph? Hmm. I'm gonna say Teal Swan. That's fair, Ruben. That's fair. Teal Swan's this horrible YouTuber. They're both TE Doms. Teal Swan and C.S. Joseph. Acacia's going with C.S. Joseph. All right. All right. Who would you rather hang out with? Club ENTP or Melissa Talks? I think TS1 might be anti-polar. It's hard to say. It's like I read this email of hers that she sent to Rachel, um, which was both nothing but random NI things, but also had no concision whatsoever. None of the things I've ever heard her write has any concision whatsoever. Melissa talks. Melissa, I don't know. Somehow she got on her mailing list, or she got Rachel's email somehow. Teal Swan, how your values can rule your life, ruin your life. I see. How your values can ruin your life, huh? Okay. In other words, my values are right, your values are wrong. Will you stop talking about people and whether or not they're good in bed? Stop objectifying women. Right. Actually, that's Boba Fett's actual secret fetish. He wants to be with a woman who's incredibly bad in bed, whatever that means. And Melissa Talks is his dream woman. He tries to get on her. She kind of goes like, yeah, that's what he's looking for in a woman. She says things like, "Can you hurry up?" Yeah. She likes to be on her phone when she's making love. I can you like if you want my legs spread, you spread them like that. So anyway, now that we understand Boba Fett's unusual proclivity, I think we should all work harder on taunting him about it. It's been a long day. A long day, but also a day that's gotten a fair amount accomplished. Did some cleaning, did some cooking, did some reading, did some booking, all kinds of things. It was a busy, busy day. That's why the 2024 committee of Good Job Awards has awarded me the Good Job Award for getting shit done on the first day of the new year. And I'm proud of it because obviously I earned it and I deserve it. I got all the rest of the Halloween, Christmas decorations taken down. And I got a couple more trash cans taken up to the street. Because what I realized after I only got one trash can taken to the street last night was, oh hey, look, I get a little reprieve. Today's New Year's Day. So they probably didn't pick the trash up today. And then I went and looked, and guess what? I was right. Well, I got a couple additional bags of trash filled up. Trash cans filled up, no bags of trash. And I took those to the street. Cleaned up the kitchen some. Live streamed a couple of times. This is my second time live streaming. And I got 2 solid football games watched as well. So that's a fair amount of accomplishment for one day. Melissa Fox. It's now called Melissa with a microphone. It should be called ESTJ with a delusion. Or possibly ESFP, I don't know. She seems like a lot of FI, but hard to say. But yeah, it's like I don't think her overwrought response to things is consistent for really any type. It's like ESTJs aren't gonna flip out because somebody doesn't even arrest them for misrepresenting their type in a type police video. Neither are ESFPs. By and large, people respond reasonably to things. But so those responses seem out of proportion to anything you'd say typologically. But obviously, her content and stuff tells you what she's not. I think Melissa Walks would be a much better YouTube channel for her. She's generally more suited to just posting videos of her walking around. At least she wouldn't be spreading a false example of her purported type. I'm certainly not the only ENTP on YouTube, but sometimes it feels like it. Seems like the actual ENTPs aren't the most famous ENTPs in typology, It's like almost everybody encounters C.S. Joseph before they encounter me. They may very well even encounter Melissa with a microphone and Club ENTP before they encounter me, It's hard to say for sure because I don't get to experience that end of things very much. I'd like to think that I could grow the channel by live streaming, but it doesn't seem to really garner me any new subscribers. Like if I'm going to get new subs, I gotta publish shorts. I'm not sure what good those kind of subs are because they're not really subscribing to the content that I make, but could be useful, According to you, I am an ENGP on YouTube, technically. I did say I know there are other ENTPs on YouTube. I know I'm not the only. I mean, like Jack from Socionics, Isaiah Rude, you, a variety of other ENTPs I could name. But what I'm saying is the people most famous for being ENTPs, it seems like, are not ENTPs. Especially C.S. Joseph seems like the most famous ENTP on YouTube, but clearly is not. If you were an actual ENTP, you'd like to think he would be less than continually terrified to even think about engaging with me. My second email to Eric, I said that when I'm in a good place, I watch Leo tarot readings. Huh, cool. Rachel loves watching those things. Some of them are good, some of them not so much. It really depends on your tarot reader. Lou's a great tarot reader. A lot of people aren't that great. Rachel likes to play. What type is this tarot person? She usually asks me that when they bring the super TE brand of the tarot. Like, these are steps you need to take to fix what's wrong with you, or to meet your goals. You know, people project their frames of reference so much. It's like you can't be definitive about what type they are from that, but you can meaningfully express things about how we should view what they're saying, you know. Oh, I can see what you say, Rachel, on the phone, but on the computer screen it's just 3 rectangles. Lily is a good one. I like her too. Huh. Rachel, do you know this Leo tarot that EII is referring to? And Lily? What if the function stack is wrong and INTP is NI? Well, I mean, the point is that NI pairs with SE, you know. So are they TISE? Well, then they're ISTP. They're TINE. Can't be TINI because you'd have 2 introverted functions in a row, you know. Yeah, I see it on the phone, my darling. Thank you for the hearts. Well, because basically, so like, and to take action, the difference between action and interfacing is that action is deliberated out first and is predicated on the idea that whatever you're taking action upon won't provide new, relevant data while you're deliberating the action you're going to take, right? So, because taking action is always the execution of some decision, and is predicated on a reality in which things are turn-based rather than real time. Namely, that you can take your time to make your decision, take the action, and then let them have their response, kind of thing, right? And they can take their time too. So to interface requires that one engage epistemologically with the knowledge function, because to interface is to engage dynamically with a dynamic system in a way that doesn't allow you that opportunity to deliberate and take action. So because an action function requires a deliberative epistemological process, an interface function requires a instantaneous one, a knowledge function. That's why you can't have 2 functions back to back that are introverted or extroverted, because it wouldn't have the corresponding other side of the coin. Just like you can't have a coin that has heads on both sides, and believe you're actually flipping a coin and just getting heads every time and being like, oh my God, I'm so lucky. Well, All those things are very ENTP things to say. And no, your belief slash circumstances can't cause you to manifest functions you don't have, you know? Sure, you could say that I've inadequately met the burden of proof to your satisfaction, but if you wanted to draw a conclusion, you certainly draw the conclusion that ENTP is more supported by the evidence extant than any other option, including types bullshit. You might say if I'm applying a very strict standard for affirmation to uphold, like AF needs to meet every burden before I'm willing to afford it any legitimacy. In other words, I'm unwilling to afford any intuition of my own to this equation. Well, then that's how you want to. You are more interested in not being wrong than in being right about it, and that's fine. I respect that entirely. And I get that. And that's a perfectly reasonable thing to say, that you'd rather be not wrong than right. But but the problem with that is unlike say where speciations comes from, we need to have, especially types like you and me, we need to have a map of the self. And so pointing out that there's no preferable alternative to mapping the self, and every alternative is much less successful in self-mapping than the one I'm presenting, then one could certainly say that a lack of preferable alternative means we should prefer the map that best maps the territory we necessarily must drive. We don't have to drive territory of how to explain where species came from. So the best answer for that is wait till something actually explains it, right? Well, the thing about cognitive functions, nobody can say it doesn't actually explain things. The only thing anybody could say is it fails to meet the strictest of standards for upholding its burden to affirm. But, you know, like I said, this is something where that we have a choice between understanding ourselves much more meaningfully and effectively, or much less meaningfully and effectively, and there's not really any option in between. Well, I mean, you can't you can't metacognate about attention without a lexicon to metacognate with, you know? If you want to reject the idea that attention itself is even a meaningful factor in personality, well, then at that point, you're no longer deferring to a reality in which things aren't definitive enough for you to affirm. You're negating stuff in order to create that position, you know? Winston's mom is in deep with the Cali cartel. That's what she's trying to tell you. That's why she always has the good candy. Well, I mean, you didn't have that experience with me, right? You didn't find in dealing with me that I was too fixated on your self-reporting about previous experiences or any other matter, really. That I worked it down until I had you pegged, right? So it's interesting. Ruben was saying to me yesterday, I guess, about how when I type somebody, if I'm typing an ENTP, he can tell by reading my body language that I think they're an ENTP. But I've been thinking about that, and the problem is, um, that I might think that at the beginning of a typing session, but end up being wrong. Now, Ruben may be able to read the change um, in my body language as I shift from position to position on somebody, but it's not always the case that my first intuition about those sort of things is right. So yeah, I know I'm just one person, KE, and if I didn't have an explanation for why it's just one person who did it right, then that would be a good reason to be skeptical. But my explanation is consistent with just me doing it right, namely that I'm the only one doing it right. So, and that there's a right and wrong way to do things. So the thing is, I get that you don't want to feel as though your intellectual freedom has been conscribed by too definitive a definition of something that's historically been left up somewhat in the air, right? You don't want to you don't want to forsake your ability to continually define things narratively, craft things as you want to, right? But hey, sometimes the life serves you shit and biscuits, and all you get to do is eat. This is one of those times. I didn't think cognitive functions would come to be such a pervasively necessary way to maximally understand things. But at the end of the day, it is. And you're only doing yourself a disservice um, to try to explain things in other ways that are already explained and correctly explained by cognitive functions. So let's pull a bong rip to celebrate that. And let's both, you and me, K.E., sit down for a nice meal of shit and biscuits. Well, that's not how that was supposed to go. What's going on here with you, you thing? Get in there. Well, this seems to have broken. How annoying. There. Okay, I have to screw this part back in, though. This is the part that's been giving me problems. So let's see if we can do it with this. I don't think we can. Maybe with this. How about with this? Let's see. No? Okay, well, let's continue. Eric's torch and fire repair shop. First, I'll put on my glasses. Then I'll get this out. And I'll put this in here. And I'll turn it like meow. Turn, turn, turn goes the turner. Clang, clang, clang goes the bell. You know what a lot of people don't know is that Tina Turner actually turned substantially less frequently than the average person. She had a turning frequency of only 60% of average. Why did she turn so infrequently? Well, when her first husband, Ike Turner, beat her all the time, it caused her to lose some of the eyesight in one of her eyes. So she only turned in one direction. But only when necessary to turn, ultimately resulting in fewer turns. Though anecdotally, I always find amusing that most people type me as a very feely feeler. Yeah, well, if by most people you mean people have no fucking idea what they're doing, then that's not surprising. Might be a girl thing, yeah. Lots of dummies think girls are more emotional than men, you know? It's like lots of women think that. My friend Liz, she's always carrying on about how Corey just doesn't get how women are more emotional. It's not women, Liz, it's you, dumbass. You know, I'm pretty emotional and I'm not a woman. I won the emotional Olympics in the last couple of Olympics in sadness, anger, laughing. Those are the three emotions that I won medals in. I got gold medal for most most confused in the face of sadness, and I got a gold medal in most sudden transition from calm to angry to calm again. And then I got the silver medal in laughing. But it was because the Russian and Chinese judges have terrible senses of humor. So anyway, what was I talking about before winning those medals in the emotional Olympics? I believe resting happy face, says Joyce Mang, is a sign of the ENFP. That's such a dumb way to type anybody. Let's look at physical indications. Because, you know, that way we don't have to justify anything. And where is it, meow, 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 meow. Fucking so dumb. Just stop being so dumb. Where I really enjoyed this article I read earlier about the physicist with the caustic wit. I think I probably used to have resting happy face. I think I less do now than I used to. Um, my stomach hurts. I need to go poop. Clearly. That's good. That helps me to feel a little bit better. Let's see if I can find that article again. Let's see. Let's see. Physicist. Uh-huh. I found it. The sharp-tongued physicist who everyone was scared of. Wolfgang Pauli won the 1945 Nobel Prize in Physics. He said, says here, known for policing novel theories, making sure that they were coherent and would enhance the discipline. When attending lectures that did not live up to those standards, he could be scathing. What you just said was so confused that one could not tell whether it was nonsense or not. Pauli eventually distilled this critique to a now famous aphorism. This isn't right, this isn't even wrong, he would say of balderdash ideas. Freeman Dyson said about him, he had nasty things to say about almost everybody. About Oppenheimer, he said, he always acts like the caricature of God in action. About Herman Weyl, one must first penetrate his facade in order to understand his thoughts. About Leon Rosenfield, he'd say, he is a choir boy of the Pope, Niels Bohr. Or Freeman Dyson, everyone wants to learn something from me. No one wants to teach me anything. I'd hope Dyson would do it, but he is only a mathematician. What did he say about Feynman? Feynman, he talks like a gangster. So, anyway, that guy reminded me of me a little bit in his objection to bullshit, you know? Obviously, he was dealing with other physicists mostly, whereas I'm dealing with regular people just talking out their ass. But, oh, I got a need to go to the bathroom. Oh. Is this sort of colon blow that it's like you get like the sweats and stuff, and you get all like, oh, that's what they call like stomach cramp colon blow. Which is, of course, the worst possible kind of colon blow. You just hope that you poop out the poop sooner than later, because until you do, you're going to continue enduring horrible stomach cramps. Oh, oh, oh. Oh, painful sorrows. Oh, oh. Just be glad you don't have smell-o-vision, folks. This is not going to be a pleasant experience for any of us. Yes, including your mom. Well, I can't give her special treatment. Oh, oh my God. Oh, fuck. Ow. Oh, oh God. Oh, 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 oh my God. Oh, 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 the pain and the suffering. Oh, the sorrow and the sadness. Oh, the horror and the misery. Oh, oh, sweet Jesus. Oh, God. Oh, oh, that was brutal. Oh, the death, the smell of death. Oh, Jesus. Okay. Well, I can't say that I'm done pooping, but I can say that that was substantial progress there. And I believe that I will probably poop more poop. Cause when you've got some poop that's stuck up inside up your butt, it has got to come out some way or some other way. Sometimes it comes out so easy, and that is fine and very pleasing. But other times it stays up there and gathers all the grossness. Oh, that's when you get stomach cramps and you start dripping in sweat. Oh, come on, bud. If you have more poop, just poop it now. I know if I get out, I'm just gonna have to come back in like 5 minutes. Oh, the suffering. Alright, well, I guess maybe sort of like twins. The water broke on the first one, but the water isn't broken on the second one yet. But I can tell there's still a baby inside of me. I'm trying to tell doctors, you're not done yet. They're saying, what are you talking about? We already birthed your one baby. I'm saying, look again, you quacks. Look again. Oh, that's a gross poop. Oh my God. Oh, what a horrible nightmare. I call it a nightmare of butt failure. Oh. That really was more or less indistinguishable in fragrance from a rotting corpse. A 3-day-old bloated rotting corpse left out in the sun. Very much what it smells like. I'll admit I don't have a lot of experience smelling rotting corpses, but I can extrapolate from the little experience I do have. I can tell you it couldn't possibly be as bad as what I just smelled. I'm going to call that Satan's perfume. Also, the worst smell in the universe. Essentially, dear God, Eric, what's wrong with your digestive system? And you have to put on the fan for your own poop. Because it smells so bad. You know that's a bad poop. I'm in great trouble. I'll watch you eat after I wash my hands. Okay, I hear you. Chill out. Chill out, angry meows. Okay, give me a second. Oh, I know, Mr. Meow. I know. Okay. I feel like I need to get a shower because I got all poop sweats on me. You know, like stomach cramp sweats. I'll probably have to poop again. Anyway, I hope that helps you feel better about your pooping if you're having pooping difficulties like me. Because misery loves company. And so does constipation. Oh, Mr. Meowing Tens, you have such loud and plaintive meows. Yes, you do. And Daddy knows. And Daddy loves. And Daddy admires. I feel a little discombobulated from that very SI intense experience. Here's trouble. Hi.
Hello. Yeah.
Well, anyway. You're getting a raise? Good for you. I'm getting a rise. A rise is an intransitive raise. So, anyway, I know I've got more trips to the bathroom in front of me this evening. But I did get a lot of poop out of me the last time. Very much progress. And that, like in Alcoholics Anonymous, and Pooping Problems Anonymous, we say progress, not perfection. You're not going to get every last speck of poop out of you all in one try. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to smoke this cigarette. I'm going to go outside, bring some glasses with me so I can see what, if anything, people say. And maybe I'll take this to the garage. What has caused this tummy issue? Constipation, mostly. It's like I get constipated, I start getting backed up poop, and then my stomach gets all crampy, and it says, dude, now you have no choice. Here comes horrible, crampy sequence of poops going from sort of regular to just straight up diarrhea until all the poop's gone from you. It's called the periodic colon blow school of pooping. I don't try to engage in this school of pooping, but my body seems to do it without my permission. I've got a great idea for a video game, KE. It's a video game in which you play the role of the driver of a little car that races around a video game track. What do you think? Could it make millions? Pretty revolutionary idea, huh? I call it Mario Kart. I have this other great idea for video game. It's a game where you play the role of a hunter and you try to shoot geese. It's called Goose Hunt. Also subtitled, Getting Arrested in Kansas. Not that I got arrested in Kansas. Yeah, I got a lot of great ideas for video games, like video game Chutes and Ladders, video game checkers, you know what, I've got a really great idea. They should base a video game on a movie. Who's with me? Your uncle was arrested in Kansas once? Who's not been arrested in Kansas? I was not, actually. I was arrested in Oklahoma, but I had a friend arrested in Kansas. Somewhat on the back of a subpoena a search warrant obtained by an affidavit, including that he and I had shot at some geese illegally. Well, that's just because you're not embracing my great video game ideas, KE. Oh, my stomach. It's hurting again. We might have to go back into the bathroom. Right. E.T. the Extraterrestrial, huh? You know, it's another great Atari era video game is Journey, the video game, which was about the band Journey. And I guess their journey through life and music. Well, it's back to the bathroom for Eric. Even more urgency than before. Oh, there it is. There's the full blast colon blow. Oh, that's horrible. That is hot death. A butt full of hot death. Oh, good God. Oh, that's a crime scene, let me tell you. Oh, oh. Oh, good God. Oh, 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 oh my God. Oh my God. Simply put, this appalls the conscience. Oh God. Well, I just had two good-sized colon blows. I mean, really three. The first one was quite a substantial turd. These last two were just messy colon blows of unspeakable horror. But given the total quantity of just brown nightmare that came out of my butt, I can't imagine I have very much left, if any. But my stomach still feels kind of crampy. I don't know if I ate something bad or what. Oh. Well, butthole, you truly are the greatest generation. When history required so much of you, you rose to the occasion and pooped out all that poop. I mean, it's hard to believe I could ever have had all that poop inside of me. It's like walking around with your whole trash can's worth of garbage in your butt. Except more of a biohazard even than that. Oh. Yeah, it's a luxury, all right. Well, I don't blame you, Lou. I don't blame you. But I also don't blame me. And the reason I don't blame me is because I just did an excellent job of pooping. I really cleared out everything from the top of the lower intestine all the way down to the bottom. Yeah, I closed the gap between expectations and reality because I expect to not have my stomach cramping. And now that's reality. Also, like I expect to have a nice night's sleep, and I'll be able to sleep well because I don't have a bunch of poop in my butt. No, I mean the first big portion of it was a big like cube of poo. It was not surprising that it had trouble getting out my butthole because it was so like a softball or something, I guess. Anyway, then behind it though was poo that didn't even bother trying to get into a shape at all. It just tumbled forth like the world's most horrifying set of rapids. Well, I can't check the URLs now. Might very well have been cloud, but I think it's just that's not a super uncommon occurrence that you get somebody who is married to a bunch of reductive bullshit and believes that your positions and stuff have to do with your identity, not what you can validate. It's kind of classic it's a classic kind of manifestation of wrongness. Uh it's not just a given type that I see it in. I saw that a similar kind of thing manifesting from my friend Corey due to toxicity. But I think it's very unlikely Corey would do what this guy does, which is sort of like bounce from provocation to provocation, intentionally or otherwise. I think unintentionally mostly. Yeah, I don't think that's Cloud. I think he's trying to get along, but it just, it just annoys me when you know, he's talking to express himself or something, but what he's saying are these just unhelpful boogeyman stuff. It's just frustrating. I've heard that shit for such a long time. Oh, it's more of the same stuff. Um, you know, I explained to him stuff like, well, that's not a meaningful understanding of capitalism or something like that. And he just, in one ear, out the other. So I think he's just whoever he is, and from England, like he says. He believes himself to be an INFJ, but in my opinion, very unlikely to be one. And for no other reason than typically, INFJs aren't the type to always be telling you that they're INFJs. That's fine, Mr. Mom. My point in making that point was not that it bothers me that you disagree with me or don't, or whatever. It was that I'm not surrounded by sycophantic yes men. It's ridiculous. It's so offensive to everybody else, right? But this is what happens when somebody, you know, runs afoul of my precision. And they're like, well, the only reason other people aren't having this conflict with Eric is because they just agree with everything he says. But that's not the case at all. It's like, I guess the thing that kind of triggers me is somebody who comes in who doesn't know anything and who's making a bunch of claims as though that sort of haphazardry is what we do here. Like, no, that's definitely not what we do here. And it's like, you can accuse me of burying things or accuse the channel of burying things, but to accuse me of being like C.S. Joseph is completely nonsense. Um, yeah. Well, he claims to be old, uh, but certain individuals are more capable of engaging in nuanced intellectualization than others for whatever reason. No, he doesn't. He doesn't write like Dan. Who knows if you can believe even what they say about their age? Are you going to bed upstairs or you're coming back down?
Oh, well, I was gonna go upstairs and trying to get tired.
That's totally fine. I will see you in the morning. I'm gonna go to bed pretty soon too. So,
Okay.
good night, darling. I love you.
I love you.
New year, new political enthusiasm. Flow State channel is often quite spicy. Uh, I might find it sometimes a little too much spice, a little too little uh, calories, but I guess that's what people like, you know. I get it. Certainly, it's very successful. It's doing a good job of being successful. It seems like. Anyway, I think I'm going to wrap this up and try to get a good night's sleep here. I feel pretty tired. Yeah, he definitely does. Yeah, Felicity does a great job of what he's doing, you know. And I'm not dissing what he's doing either. It's just, you know, not what I'm doing. You know, that's always popular, Winston's mom. Meow 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 said meow meow meow. The fuck? People love that stuff. I do that sometimes too, like, you know, as per some recent videos in which I say, basically, Mike Hart say what? We toasty, maybe not inside of a loaf of bread yet. Yeah, I'm going to bread too. Oh, I see you responding to Winston's mom. You got 60, you got 6. We elite, they plebes. I mean, I think you got that backward. Doesn't that mean they elite and we're the plebes? Anyway, good night, everybody. I love you all. Don't forget to eat plenty of cheese.